The spirit of the Undertaker lives within the soul of all mankind. The eternal flame of life that cannot be extinguished. The origin of which cannot be explained.
Welcome to the Ultimate Podcast Thrill Ride. We're your host, Bosch, alongside
Cheyenne. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a little under the weather the last few days, so if I sound weird or like I went through another puberty, don't mind me. But, anyways, WrestleMania just wrapped up about an hour ago.
Just about, yeah, shockingly enough.
So I guess we can start with Mania and then work our way towards the other stuff, since Mania is fresh on our minds right now.
Well, believe it or not, I still got to go back a little bit. I'm just going to wing this one, believe it or not, because normally I got the phone out and everything.
Yeah.
But it opened with Shane and AJ, which a lot of people were caught off guard with.
Well, there was the pre-show, if you want to...
Oh, yes, and the pre-show, which we pretty much knew about.
Yeah.
It was Aries and Neville in the first match of the night.
It was a pretty good match.
And I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. I was a little surprised to see Neville win, but at the same time I wasn't.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it was cool to see Aries be the first guy to walk down that ramp, at least out of the superstars. Just because I've seen him, I saw him wrestle at that House of Hardcore show in that basketball court. I saw him wrestle in Ring of Honor, TNA. So it was great to see him at WrestleMania. Pretty good match. I was disappointed with the Battle Royal. I would say there were two things I was disappointed that didn't happen tonight, and the Battle Royal was one of them.
Okay.
As far as, I think they blew what they had with Braun Strowman for a celebrity moment.
Okay, that's a fair logic.
Which I think if it wasn't for the connection with this football player, Gronkowski, whatever, I don't think Mojo wouldn't have won. And it made, for them to throw out Braun like that after the months he's had of momentum, after he had 2 great matches with Roman, after he was involved with the 2 men in the main event angle, to get thrown out right away in that battle royal, I thought it was a waste of everything they've done with. I think that was more disappointing to me than the 2 losses to Roman. I mean, I've liked Mojo since Ryder left, and he's been a little more serious and not done as much of the hype stuff. But I thought they just poured themselves out for a celebrity moment and screwed over Braun.
When you put it like that, I actually was not seeing it like that, to be honest with you.
Once I saw that they showed this guy in the crowd, because I saw there was a video of these 2 backstage hyping each other up, and they had their moments on social media. And when I saw that he was in the crowd, I was like, okay, Mojo's probably gonna win this.
That part I didn't see, and I actually was not, like I just mentioned, thinking that until you said it.
Yeah.
It kind of rang with me better. It was just a thing. I just thought it was just kind of swerving, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. I initially was going into it as, all right, well, they probably saw it as, well, everybody sees Strowman as winning. Let's try to swerve, because we all know Vincent swerves.
Yeah.
Now, let me address something with you, because this was brought up to me at where I was viewing WrestleMania. It was news to me. Is it true that this is Big Show's last WrestleMania? Because I was under the impression that he was going to finish out his contract, which I think has 2 years left.
I haven't heard anything about that, so I can't answer.
Me neither. So that was news to me, quite frankly.
I know he was looking forward to the Shaq match this year and lost all that weight.
Correct.
I honestly, I haven't really checked the rumor sites since before Mania started 12 hours ago.
Okay.
But I haven't read anything about that. So
right.
I was mostly just on Twitter and chatting with the guys in the team package.
Yeah, I didn't do any dirt sheets until just now, and I
haven't even checked anything since Mania.
No stories were out because it just happened.
I can't wait for the 24 for this Mania to come out. I guess in a year from now.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fucking great.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the Battle Royal. I was very stunned that Big Show was up and over, in and out.
Yeah.
Very stunned.
Well, I remember once they were out, I said it's either going to be Zayn or Mojo, but most likely Mojo because of the football player.
I actually went Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was at mentally with it.
I mean, when Jinder Mahal was in the final 2.
Yeah, he hung up on it. Well, yeah, when he was in the final 2.
Well, I think
the writing on the wall.
Had Rusev not been injured, it would have been Rusev in that spot with the celebrity involvement. Getting in this guy's face and getting knocked out and being last eliminated.
That's a fair statement. It was the big names got out first.
Yeah.
Which was a huge shock for me.
Well, Sammy was the only big name that lasted for a while, and then it was down to Mojo and Jinder and the guy from Sanity.
Right, but it did pick up at the end.
Yeah.
For me. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't like horrendous, if that makes any sense at all.
I think when it was on the pre-show, I kind of thought maybe they were going to put it on one of the legends, or maybe like Mark Henry or Kane would have been in there.
Some at where I was watching it even were saying that Mark Henry was going to get it, and after a while, I'm
kind of figuring if it's on the pre-show, it's an older guy, but if it's on the main card, it's a guy that's going to get pushed.
Right.
So I mean, in the past, has it really led to anything? No.
I think it did for Cesaro for 3 months. And without question, it has certainly led to something, yes, for Baron Corbin.
All right. I can see them wanting to do... or maybe they just looked at it this way, that Braun was already over and didn't need it.
Right.
But then if he was already over and didn't need it, then he shouldn't have been in it. And then I'm surprised there was no sight of Samoa Joe on the card at all.
Yeah, that I just can't.
Which would probably be my third disappointment.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around that.
And my second would be no Howard Finkel for the Hall of Fame announcement.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit. This is the first Mania he hasn't appeared at.
And he just celebrated 37 years with the company, so I was...
Unless it was an emergency or he's sick, like there's no reason why they wouldn't put him on there.
I saw that photo that you put out of all the different legends that were at WrestleMania, so yeah. I really don't see why he wasn't there.
Yeah.
That's just me.
But then I guess there was a lot of complaints about the SmackDown Women's match being on the pre-show on social media.
Yeah.
So it was swapped with the Intercontinental title match.
Okay.
So the Intercontinental title match was on the pre-show. Dean Ambrose went over. Thought it was a decent match.
It wasn't anything to write home about.
Yeah.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I was glad that Ambrose got a main Mania win.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted Corbin to win, but I think WWE's kind of going with this back and forth booking where if you lose, you win one year, you lose the next. So
yeah,
I guess with Corbin winning the Battle Royal, he lost this year. Ambrose jobbed out to Brock, won this year. So
right.
But the show opened up with a nice graphics package. New Day came out, did a little skit in the ring. They had their Final Fantasy inspired outfits. Nothing really crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they weren't going to bump, so they didn't go all out.
Yeah, I mean, I thought because they were in their outfits, they were going to wrestle, but
yeah,
we'll find out later what happened with that. But opening match, surprisingly, was AJ and Shane, but I guess they wanted to start hot, and it was actually, in my opinion, the match of the night. And
really?
I far exceeded my expectations. Shane exceeded all my expectations going into this match.
Shane, without question, exceeded my expectations.
It wasn't AJ carrying him. Like, Shane held his own, and I would probably say that's Shane's best match since Angle. And if anything, this was probably the best match that Shane had that didn't rely on like hardcore and street fights or fighting around the ring. Like, he went for the usual Van Daminator spot, but this is like this might be his best non-gimmick match he's ever had.
I don't know yet if I can say that's match of the night. But I definitely can think that, considering it was a match that we didn't see coming, it wasn't the match originally heard.
Maybe because the expectations going in weren't that high and it exceeded it. I thought it was better than Shane's match last year with Taker.
That's exactly where I'm at. And yes, it was.
The Taker match was just a spot.
Yeah.
So I
don't know if it was just a spot. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far.
Well, that's what's remembered. I think with this one, you're going to remember a great match.
Oh, in the sense of that one spot. I thought you meant the match itself, like a spot to get them both on. Okay.
No, meaning the match revolved around the spot, but I think this one, Shane earned everybody's respect, and I mean, I thought it was going to lead to AJ shaking his hand after the match, and
I knew that wasn't happening. I actually disagree with that.
But I think there was a video on Twitter where he shows him respect. I can see. I mean, they're really fighting an uphill battle. I guess it's kind of like the reverse Roman syndrome, where AJ is so over that nobody's booing him, really.
Yeah, and I mean, come on. The guy's had the XYZ amount of years struggle getting there.
Yeah.
He already came in at that point of his career where Edge, The Undertaker, and Triple H were at, where you just couldn't boo them anymore.
Yeah.
And he came into the company like that. So, I mean, totally understandable from a fan standpoint.
And I think kind of like you're fighting, like if Roman's the biggest heel on Raw, then he's the biggest face on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because they have them in the wrong roles.
Yeah. What was match number 2, Bosch?
Match number 2 was Owens and Jericho. I actually, in the team package chat, I said I hope he comes out with a light up scarf, and I was very happy that he did.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. I think it was tough because they were following AJ and Shane, and I guess like always, this is the Savage Steamboat expectation match of the night, where everybody's
Right.
going in there saying, "Oh, this has to be the Savage Steamboat of the night." But I thought it was a good match, and I'm happy
I
that
personally thought it was a great match. I thought it was better than we thought it was going to be.
yeah, and I'm happy that
Um,
KO came out with the win.
yeah, yeah, true. I enjoyed it. I feel like the match was. I'm willing to say it was flawless.
Hmm.
It really was something special. It was
And that you have two great in-ring workers in there, and I mean,
two great in-ring workers, two
Jericho
guys that
pulling
respect
out
each other.
top rope Hurricane Rana
Yeah, like
is
when was the
amazing.
last time I saw him hit a Frankensteiner? You
Yeah.
know, for me, top of my head, maybe the match with RVD. But it just phenomenal,
Hmm.
phenomenal.
Match number 3 was the Raw women's match. It was not as good as last year's, because I would say I would say last year the women's match was the match of the night.
Not as good as last year's. For me, just not.
I don't think it was
not
terrible. I think they also kind of went with the same exact story that they went with at a Takeover with the tag title match, where everybody was teaming up on the big guys.
Oh, okay. I see your argument for that.
Yeah, so I feel like since I just watched Takeover this morning, I felt like I was watching the same match where DIY and Revival teamed up against Authors of Pain to take them
Okay.
out. I mean, this time they were successful with taking Nia out, but I mean, and I wanted Charlotte to win, but and at the same time, if this was the direction they were going, I think they should have screwed over. They should have screwed Bayley over numerous times, leading to her getting her big victory tonight eventually. And this would,
Okay.
I think, this should have been Bayley winning the belt for the first time tonight. I think the steam was already. I think the steam was already let out with her winning it on Raw, her ending Charlotte's streak at Fastlane, and then coming in and defending the belt successfully. I think had they stacked everything against her for the last 3 months since Rumble, not had that Raw match, and just maybe she didn't face Charlotte at Fastlane and faced Nia, and then they kept throwing everything against her, and then she gets herself into this match, and then she finally ends Charlotte's streak by defeating her at Mania. I think it would have been a bigger moment, but I think considering everything that's led to this, I think they botched the storyline for this match, and what could have been a good moment.
I expected Charlotte getting it back or Nia getting her moment.
Yeah.
I did not think that Bayley was going to retain. I thought the match was good. Genuinely did. Everybody got eliminated in the order that I thought, except for the ending, because, like I said,
Yeah.
I thought
Same here.
Charlotte was going to retain. But, she had her moment last year. Bayley had her Mania moment.
And can we mention that I think Sasha's lazy taking a car to the ring?
Say again?
I think Sasha's lazy taking a car to the ring.
Agreed. Seriously, everybody else fucking walked.
It's like she's
even Taker walked a bit.
I mean Hunter, but he's the boss, so he can do that. But still, I mean, she's preserving her cardio and her energy for this match.
Totally agree.
I think
Totally agree.
Completely unfair and uncalled for.
Completely unfair. And yes, completely.
Okay, what was match number 4? I'm trying to remember the order. Tag titles.
Huh?
Tag titles was match number 4. The ladder match for the tag team titles, the 3 teams came out. Then New Day came out and said that this was now a 4-way match, and I think everybody saw what was coming next, and it was the Hardy Boys in the match. I thought it was it doesn't live up to the original TLC and ladder matches, but I thought it was a pretty good ladder match.
I thought it was much better than we all thought it was going to be. I thought all 4 teams got their shine in there.
Yeah.
And no, I don't think it was a bad thing that the Hardys went over on their first show.
No, I mean, I thought it was a cool WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Enzo and Cass were going to win had the Hardys not been in the match, but when they came out, I mean, this is actually the first time they've won at Mania.
Yeah.
And Jeff,
I thought it was good.
And Jeff
That's
Hardy,
right, the first time as a team that they won at Mania, right?
Or first time that I think the first time that Jeff Hardy's won at Mania.
Yes, that is actually correct.
Because he lost to Matt, and he's
Yes.
lost every other match. Yeah, he's lost every match he's been in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can we skip match number 5? Nah. Match number 5 was the mixed tag, Cena and Nikki against Miz and Maurice. Pretty much what I expected. Actually went a little longer than I expected, but it was the finish that I expected. With both of them doing their moves and getting the double pin.
Yes, you did book that on this very show, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be a little quicker, but they gave Miz a lot of offense in the match, which was good. And then after the match, Cena grabbed the mic. I started crying. Cena...
I've been saying it.
I've been saying it, too. I knew it was going to happen. I'm not surprised, but... So between this and the ending, it stings the heart a bit. But Cena gave a nice speech and proposed to Nikki. It was a great moment, all jokes aside. And I am happy for them.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing the wedding and everything on Total D. Do you think this is going to lead to an WWE wedding or a Total Divas wedding?
I think the Total Divas wedding.
So you don't see them doing in-ring arena wedding?
It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out.
Mm-hmm. Because the proposal was in the ring, and
I do and I don't see it.
Same here.
I do and I don't.
Same here. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
I personally, I think because it's something that's tied to the E Network. If this was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, because of the match made in heaven, if it wasn't to the fact that WWE is tied to so many networks, then yes, they would have done it on pay-per-view.
But every wedding has always, I mean, has there ever been?
They almost did Triple H and Stephanie on pay-per-view, the shoot wedding.
Yeah, but has there ever been like a shoot wedding on WWE TV? Like every wedding has always been part of an angle.
No.
Because even Macho and Elizabeth, they were already married. I think they were probably even like divorced by that point.
Yeah. No, they were divorced already.
Yeah, so...
Well, they were already separated.
Yeah, so... And then even Hunter and Steph, they didn't get married until later on for real, but... Yeah, so I mean...
they had 2 weddings before.
I mean, no... With all the money that they fucking have, I don't see them doing an in-ring wedding.
Agreed. It's the E Network is going to get it.
Yeah.
The E Network is going to get the ratings. They have their own spin-off.
Yeah.
All of that is just the point of Total Divas when we started this show 4 years ago. Like I said, was to get the wedding.
Yeah.
It was out there.
And then that's going to probably be the finale.
Yeah.
But despite the jokes and the meme that I made of me cashing in the Honey in the Bank, I am happy for them.
You are so full of shit.
I am not. What chance do I have? What chance did I have of really fucking marrying
Don't
Nikki?
count yourself out.
No, I'm being the bigger man here.
You sound pretty petty, pretty salty to me, pal. That's how you.
You know what? Continue the show by your fucking self.
Oh, excuse me, pal. Jesus.
But that was the 5th.
I thought it was a better match than we all thought because we even went in there with the idea.
Well, there was
of all things.
I mean, it pretty much was a one-on-one match with just a spot at the end with the girls.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much just Miz versus Cena.
Well, Maurice hasn't wrestled. Not to say that she would have sucked, but she hasn't wrestled.
Yeah.
She has not been training to wrestle that I know of. She's just been brought back to be a mouthpiece, a heat magnet.
Yeah.
So, what were you going to do?
True. Match number 6. God, I'm losing track here. Okay, wait. 10 was Taker Roman.
Yeah, because you're in mourning. I forgot.
I am. 9 was the Chicks. 2 titles. So wait. What match? Oh.
I opened it up.
Triple H and Rollins.
Yeah.
Okay. Both had fucking awesome entrances.
Oh, amazing.
I thought Triple H's entrance was badass with the motorcycle and Stephanie on the back and the leather vest and the police
Totally
escort.
amazing entrances.
I thought Rollins with his gold outfit was pretty badass, and
Yep.
the flame and lighting the ramp on fire was pretty cool. I thought they had an awesome match as well.
I thought it was for me because I just had this conversation with Xavier.
Yeah.
For me, either the ladder match or that one was match of the night.
I'd put this over the ladder match.
Yeah.
But
it was my style, you know.
Yeah, it was definitely working the knee, the whole match.
Yeah, it was old school.
Yeah,
the story was
the
there.
Yeah.
It was not even 5 minutes until the internet had said to me that Seth McMahon took more bumps than Goldberg's taken in a year.
That I wasn't expecting. Like, I legit popped. It wasn't even more like a cheering pop. It was more like, oh shit, because I think they took that table out like maybe like 15, 20 minutes earlier in the match. So I completely forgot there was the table there. So when she and it was out of the frame the whole time. So when she fell through the table, I was fucking shocked. But
yeah,
it was a cool spot. A great match. Working the knee the whole time. They did the spot that originally injured Rollins.
Yeah.
The sledgehammer involvement. I was surprised. Like I said, I was surprised there was no Samoa Joe involvement in this match to further stack the odds against him. But great match. Rollins went over as he should. I was very happy with that match.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely think it probably hindsight 2020. You know, quickly replaying it in my head, I definitely think that was match of the night. Like I said, you know, right up my alley.
So it's pretty much a McMahon in a match of the night.
Yeah.
So next was the WWE title, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt defending the belt.
Yeah.
This was different. We got the projector with the worms and the maggots and the roaches in the ring.
Yes, very.
The first one caught me off guard, and I was having a screwdriver, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" I think I was looking down, and I looked up and just saw like fucking worms in the ring, and it bugged me the fuck out.
Caught me very much off guard.
And then I think it was a little bit of overkill, like because they kept doing it throughout the match. And it didn't even. And then Orton won. I don't know. I was kind of hoping that we would get a nice little run out of Bray. Considering
many fans seem disappointed,
especially because he just won the belt at the last pay-per-view.
I'm not. I can't say I'm not disappointed, but I can't say I'm not surprised. Was it the match I thought it was going to be? No, because I thought they were going to steal it.
I thought so, and then considering they're both coming in with legacies, with Randy's father and Bray's uncle and father involved in the first WrestleMania, right. I thought it was cool that they're facing each other at this Mania, but a little underwhelming.
Yeah. Again, not to say that it was bad, but you know, I just had my own, impression of it.
Yeah.
That's all. Because it wasn't bad. Like I said, I just had my own impression of it.
Yeah.
It was, again, the graphics were a little goofy at times. It was a little theatrical. But not terrible.
I mean, I think like on Twitter, I saw people were expecting some sort of hologram or something to represent Sister Abigail, but kind of like they did the ghost.
I mean, quite frankly, I just thought that Bray was going over. So
I did too, but we'll see what this leads to. I guess maybe AJ and Randy.
Maybe.
Or unless they continue,
I can tell you.
Or they can continue the Bray one for a bit and then have AJ chase him after.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll see if somebody gets called up to SmackDown this week.
Maybe, and then maybe this is just a setup for long-term things. Maybe we don't know anything about the draft.
Yeah.
maybe that's a factor. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just stuff to look at.
Yeah. Next
That's
was Brock and Goldberg.
Yeah.
Um, better than what I expected.
Better than what I expected. They went in there with
They
5
went
finishes each.
they went about 5 minutes, which is
Really?
I read online it was like 4:46 maybe, so about 5 minutes.
It felt longer.
I mean, compared to the last two matches Goldberg's had, which have
Maybe that's what it is.
been like a total of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He like doubled his run, but I thought it was cool to see finally.
Well, let me address something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Again, this is something else that I want to ask you about because
Yeah.
I read this week. I know it was in the groups, if you will.
Yeah.
I did not click the link to the article itself because I was just busy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true that Goldberg did an interview and said that he was miserable?
Yes, on Edge and Christian's first podcast, he was on there.
Could you clarify that for me?
Yes, he said physically he was miserable because he did a lot of his working out is MMA based and Muay Thai and very cardio heavy. But when he came back to WWE, he had to kind of cut the cardio out of his workout routine and bulk back up because he wanted his original look, and he had slimmed down, so he didn't want to come back looking smaller and slim. So he cut the cardio and I guess had to eat more, eat heavier, and bulk up. So physically, that's taken a toll on him. So that's what he meant by he's been miserable.
Oh, okay, because I had misinterpreted that.
That he was miserable, like personally? No.
Disagreement with the parties once again.
No, he's been enjoying the run on that aspect. As far like he even said like, and he was also on JR's podcast this week. So it was between the two podcasts. He said like going to his son's school with the belt was a cool moment for him, or like having his son look up to him, and like he's enjoyed that aspect of it, like the character and the story and everything. And he said like him and Brock it was gonna be a fight, like it wasn't gonna be anything quick, but just the physical aspect as far as having to cut the cardio out of his routine to bulk up and look like himself it took a toll on him, and that's what's made him miserable.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like super confused when I had seen that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool for what it was.
10 Germans. There was that first spear after those first 3 Germans popped me. The spear through the barricade.
Didn't see that coming from Goldberg, and the barricade wasn't gimmicked. So
yeah, that looked like that was rough.
Yeah, much props to him for fucking taking it. So.
Yeah. But thought it was a cool match. I guess it's curious. We're curious to see what's gonna happen with Brock. He is in the advertisements for the next pay-per-view at the end of this month.
Well, you would know, so.
Well, they played. That's the spot they played during Mania, so it's not a spoiler. But yeah. So I guess they wouldn't advertise him in there if he wasn't scheduled to be there.
Right.
So where do you see them going? It's like, do they rush and throw it to Roman? Do they bring Balor back and have Balor and Brock?
I don't see it being a rush.
And
I don't see it being a rush.
And I don't want to see it be Balor. Just because
I don't see it being rushed to Roman. I think we're going to go back to that phase of Brock being the attraction champion.
Okay.
We have the draft coming. We have new faces coming.
But have they announced when the draft is?
No. This is me presuming and freestyling some bullshit.
Because the last draft was in July.
This is me presuming and freestyling bullshit. I don't see why the draft can't be sooner.
If you're looking at the Raw roster, realistically, I don't like the size difference between to bring Balor in and throw him in there against Brock right away.
Right.
Logically, he would be the choice because he never lost the belt. He won it and had to relinquish it the next night, and he's the first Universal Champion. And then, where do you really bring Balor back? what other storyline would he throw him into? Because Rollins is a face. I mean, do you throw him in there in like a tag program against like Joe and Owens? I don't know.
Where do I put Balor?
Because it's like, do you bring him to fight Brock? That's such a mismatch. And Balor, I don't think and it's nothing like you could like if you develop Balor isn't developed enough, at least on the main roster, to be a believable threat for Brock.
Right.
There's very few smaller guys that have gone in, like Eddie Guerrero. There's very few small guys that have gone in there and been believable against Brock. I think had Shawn been around during the Brock time, Shawn would have been a credible smaller opponent. Like Jericho, like Balor hasn't been established to be a believable opponent to come in and face Brock.
Who is a good opponent for Brock? This is going to be a bullshit answer.
Do you throw in mad at me? Braun or Big Show?
I think it should be Big Man. Listen, it's either you give him a throwaway, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's either you give him a throwaway, or you crown a
interim champion,
a number one contender tomorrow night.
Okay.
And in true reality, even if it's a one-off and Brock squashes him at Payback, it's not a loss because Brock Lesnar is the inevitable. Yeah. Nobody can beat him, and it took Goldberg to beat him, and he fucking disintegrated Goldberg tonight.
All right, here's an idea. The last 4 years or so, since Mania 28, the loser of the second match has been the number one contender at the following pay-per-view.
That is a scary statistic, and I know you didn't come up with that on your own.
No, I actually did. I think last year I came up with it when AJ became number one contender.
So you're saying whoever's been in the second match at WrestleMania
and lost
has ended up becoming the number one contender?
Yes. You want me to go back?
Yeah, break this one down.
All right. Last year, AJ Styles lost to Jericho in the second match and won the number one contender the following night to face Roman. The year before is the only one with asterisks on it because Seth Rollins lost to Randy Orton in the second match, but won the belt later that night, and Randy was the number one contender. So that was the only flaw to my logic, but still, the loser of the match was the champion.
Okay.
The year before would have been 2014. The Shield squashed Kane and the Outlaws, and Kane went on to face Daniel Bryan for the title at the following pay-per-view.
Okay, mine's still being blown. Keep going.
The year before was 29, the one that I was at. Ryback lost to Mark Henry in the second match.
And he took on Cena after turning heel.
Turned heel the following night and took on Cena. So that's where it ends for me.
So you're saying the contender would be, who was number 2 again?
Jericho.
Tonight?
Jericho.
Because it's Jericho, I'm going to agree with the credibility to
that would be the only one of the few that would be credible enough.
Yeah.
As far as being a legend, and not a bigger guy, but a legend.
Yes.
And I don't think they've ever had a one-on-one match.
Who, Jericho Brock? Well, aside from that squash on Raw like 4 years ago.
But that was that even a match?
Yeah, it was like a throwaway.
I think it was like Jericho and Heyman.
Was back for like one night.
Or wasn't it like Jericho and Heyman in the street fight and Brock came out and destroyed him?
No, I think it was Jericho Brock, and it was a no contest because Brock just fucking F5'd him and called it a day.
Okay.
That was the way I remember it going down. I don't know if anybody wants to...
If my second match theory continues...
Oh, it's a fair one. I didn't even catch that, so you got me beat. I didn't catch that shit for nothing. For nothing.
Yeah.
Zero. Nothing.
Yeah, I think it hit me last year where I started like putting it, and then I tried to like point it out on Reddit, and some jerk was like, "There's already a thread about that." I'm like, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, I was going to say, tell him to go fuck himself.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're bullies. Keep going.
Speaking of people online pissing me off, throughout the whole like last hour of the show, everybody on Twitter was complaining that the girls were cut from the show, and I kept tweeting out, no, this is going to be the filler match between the Universal title and between Taker and Roman, which it was, because they usually throw in one of these matches as the filler between the two main events.
Yeah, so, oh my god.
So, between Jimmy Corderas and myself, we were yelling at people throughout the night. I love Corderas because he shuts people down on Twitter. But I thought it was a quick match, a little longer than
it was quicker than I thought it would be.
Well, I mean, at that point, it was already like 11:15.
That's true.
Naomi had a sick entrance. Mickey looked like Tatanka. Becky looked like Bray Wyatt.
That's cool, Tatanka, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Becky had dreads.
Yeah, that was weird.
Naomi had a sick entrance. I mean, if these 6 women would have had a match a year ago, and you asked me to rank the women from top to bottom who I want to win this match, Naomi probably would have been at the bottom of the list. But going in this year, she was my favorite going in. Just for the hometown moment, and she lost the belt, had to relinquish it. I thought it was an awesome moment. I'm happy Naomi won. She had a pretty cool finisher, that submission move on Alexa.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, so I thought that was a nice move, and she had her moment. Everybody can stop crying that the SmackDown women were going to get cut from the show again.
Yeah, seriously. Bunch of damn babies.
So, yeah. But I thought it was a good match. Decent.
Yeah, it was...
The Ellsworth involvement was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was cool to see a Tazplex.
Yeah. So, cool moment. Then, New Day comes out and announces the attendance, 75,000. Can we just mention that this might be my favorite Mania set of all time?
It's up there. I don't know if I'm ready to say that, so it's up there.
I mean, the ramp. The best ramp, at least.
I mean, it was 80 yards long.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the fucking the ring on top of the ring.
Yeah, that was just insane.
And the roller coaster at the Universal.
I was like, Brock and Goldberg got their own ring. That's great.
Yeah.
How about it? You know.
So pretty cool. Main event: Roman Reigns and Undertaker. I thought Roman's pyro was fucking badass.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about this. Oof.
I'll say I liked the story they were trying to tell, but I think there were just so many spots that were off or botched that it kind of didn't mesh well. And I think just maybe Taker's age at this point of his life, had this match been a few years ago, I think the match would have been a lot better. Oh yeah, by the way, let's mention that fucking JR was on commentary.
Yeah, phenomenal. It was great to hear his voice.
It felt out. And it like listening to him on commentary, it didn't feel like he's been gone all these years.
No, not at all.
Like it felt like it just felt right.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm happy that JR made the best of this weekend, considering everything he's going through. I'm glad that he's around so many people that love and care about him, and I know Jan would have wanted him to be around people to cheer him up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that this was like the perfect cap to this weekend, and unfortunately, he's gonna have to go back to reality, but I think
to Norman, yeah.
Yeah, and he did state on his podcast that they weren't gonna do like a memorial service or anything for her. He was just gonna have her cremated. So they weren't doing like a funeral or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if it was great to have him back. And I'm pretty sure that was an Undertaker request.
If he signed the deal, I'm going to actually say no. Maybe.
And from what I heard, he signed
wind of the deal.
From what I heard, he signed this deal prior to the passing.
Prior to Jan.
And I think when the news came out, it kind of came across like it happened after.
And that's what I think. That Taker just kind of, you got Jim back, and you take my match.
Yeah.
That's what I would presume. Because apparently this deal was set as much as 5 weeks ago.
Okay.
That's what I found out.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it was great, and not to say the match was not legitimate, but it brought a different dynamic to the match.
It was, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was the worst match of all time. Like, not by any means. I thought it was a pretty good match. I got the story that they were trying to tell. There was the botch, a few little hiccups, but I guess, I mean, if anything, that also adds to the story that Undertaker is not in his prime and couldn't go up for those moves, or couldn't take those moves, or couldn't do certain moves, and was slower. I think if anything, it might have added to the story that they were trying to tell.
Right.
Which was Taker taking the chair shots, which was kind of reminiscent of Mania 17.
Mania, yeah.
Because it was an ODQ match, and taking all the spears, and then kind of a throwback to Shawn kind of climbing up Taker during his retirement match.
Yeah.
Where he slaps Taker. And then also, I think Triple H and him had the same moment in their Hell in a Cell match. So I thought it was cool to have that moment where Taker was crawling up Roman, and Roman didn't want to do it, and Taker, if you read Taker's lips, he says you don't have the balls to do it.
You ain't got the balls, yeah.
Which I thought was cool, and then there was like a little botch there, but then Roman went for like this, I call it the ultimate spear, because he did the fucking back and forth running.
No, that's what it was. That's a great call. That's what it was.
Of the Warrior used to do, and he won the match. I think a lot of people, I don't think people were disappointed that Roman won. I think people were disappointed that he won clean and didn't turn heel.
Yeah.
I think that was a disappointment.
And because it is Roman Reigns, right? So
yeah.
Was it the worst match of all time?
No.
It was not.
It was probably better than the Brock Taker match.
It was in fact better than the Brock Taker match. I will go that far.
I would even say maybe better than I might even say this has been the best match he's had since Punk. It might have been better than the Bray match and the Shane match.
Better than the Shane match, yes. Better than the Punk match, I
said since the Punk match. I didn't say it was better than the Punk match. No, the Punk match was good. I love that match. Said since Punk.
That's
better than Bray?
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Sure.
Because that one didn't really have much of a story. It was just Taker coming back from his loss and winning.
Right. Yeah.
There wasn't really
I'll give you that.
So I mean, and going into this one, you felt that doubt. Like, okay, Taker could win, but he could lose.
Right.
So. Just I guess. It's tough. I like looking at it. I began. Like, okay, Roman won, walked out. Taker, they had the lights when it came back from the replay. Taker was standing in the ring with his clothes on again, the hat and the jacket. Took off the gloves, took off the jacket, took off the hat, left the ring, gave his wife a kiss. Really emotional moment. For me, it's tough because I started watching wrestling late '94, early '95, and of the roster at the time that I began watching, Taker was the only one left.
Yeah.
I would say, and Triple H makes the cutoff because he started maybe like 6 months after I began watching, after Mania 11. So, but as far as when I became a fan, Taker's the only one left. Was the only one left tonight, you know?
Yeah, it's like I kept saying to my buddy Matthew tonight. The last piece is gone.
Yeah, that's what it felt like for me. Because I remember Hunter's debut. So as far as like the guys that debuted prior to me, I think Hunter might be like the first debut I remember as a fan. So I think as far as all the guys that debuted prior to me becoming a fan, he's the only one. He was the last one.
It was it's surreal, and I guess because we know we know ahead of time, like, oh, this is going to be a career-threatening match,
But I mean, that wasn't the stipulation going in.
No, it wasn't. But because we're so used to that, that whole it's got to be his last one. The career's on the line,
Yeah, I think had they gone in with the career gimmick, then it would have taken away because then people would have been expecting it.
Okay.
But I thought it was done very well. I like that. Like the last moment was just all the lights going pitch black.
Yeah, and not for nothing, wasn't it similar to, in terms of the send off rather? Wasn't it similar to how Jim Ross booked it when we went to the live show?
Yeah, for years. I mean, he was always saying that Taker would win and go off into the sunset.
Right.
Yeah, but as far as like going off in the sunset, yes. Like
because that was pretty close.
As much as I love the
JR booked.
I mean, as much as I'm a mark for the Mania recap videos at the end of the show, and that's what inspired me to become an editor.
Right.
I'm kind of happy that it didn't cut to that, because I think it would have taken away from like that moment of just going pitch black.
Yeah.
For it to come in with, I'm ready to go,
Yeah, and I think because, Taker leaving pretty much made Mania so somber.
Yeah.
Because it did.
Yeah.
It did. Also, kind of would not have helped that.
Exactly.
It just would have been like, and the Undertaker rides off into the sunset. Here's Flow Rider. That's
it would have been jarring.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You just use the word jarring.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've never heard you use that word before.
Come on. Asshole.
I heard that. Yeah, it just. I'm really just honestly in shock at the fact that it's over tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for years we've seen it coming, but I guess for it to
We've heard about it.
I mean, for it to finally
for
happen.
10, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, but for it to finally happen, I feel like between like Flair, Shawn, Taker, like these, no matter how much you hear it coming and you know that they're getting older and it's eventually going to happen, I think like when it finally does happen, it's still emotional,
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is.
You grew up watching them. You remember them as your childhood. Like, this is the last piece of me becoming a wrestling fan as a child.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Because I know for you, Taker debuted right. Taker's been around your whole life,
Yeah, that's
he debuted
exactly
in 2000 in 1990. In
1990, yeah.
So,
that's a guy who, and I've said this on this show before. If you've heard me probably say it many, many times, annoyingly for Goldust. That's a guy who. I saw all of that.
Yeah.
Start.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately tonight, I have to say out loud.
Yeah.
Finish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very tough. And, there's always been that, well, not always, but there's recently been that argument. Well, the streak is over. Does it mean anything now? You're damn right, because he is truly the last outlaw.
Yeah.
He really is the last for dying breed. He is, as I keep saying, and as I have said several times tonight, the last fucking piece.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does mean something.
Yeah. And like I said, I remember out of the guys that are left that I saw as a kid debut, like I remember Hunter debuting maybe a couple months after I started watching. Goldust debuting about a year in.
Right.
Mark Henry, Kane, even coming in as Isaac Yankem. Big Show debuting in WCW. The Rock. So I feel like
Yeah,
those.
these are all guys that we saw start to finish. You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
mean, those
I
guys
was
aren't done yet, with the exception of The Rock. But I feel like, I mean,
yeah.
so I would say Triple H is probably the last one left.
Yeah, Triple H is the last one left, but in true reality, you know, we only see him wrestle once a year.
Yeah,
So we've seen that transition. We're kind of braced for that one, I feel, out of everything.
yeah.
You know, yes, Ric Flair's my favorite wrestler. I didn't see his whole career start to finish.
Well, yeah,
But
yeah.
because I
Same
was
for
a
me with
freak of
Sean.
nature,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, like because I was a freak of nature, I did.
I
You
mean,
know, and I
because
was
you're, I mean,
part of,
I feel like you're as old as Flair.
yeah, pretty much, you know, and I get just as crazy. When, yeah, I just can't believe that.
Yeah.
I, it, whew, it's over. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. You know, and I can't wait for the internet. You know, oh, Vince McMahon made him this. You know,
I'm
he's
pretty
the
sure.
Undertaker.
I'm pretty sure
I'm
it was.
pretty sure that, you know,
Look, I mean, I'm pretty sure if this was if this is what happened, I'm sure it was Taker's choice to go out to Roman, regardless of what the fans think. Look back at history. If you look at what Taker's clique was back in the day and who his crew was, Roman's uncles were his closest friends.
yeah,
Rikishi, Yokozuna, those are like two of the Undertaker's closest boys.
yeah,
So why wouldn't he pass the torch to their nephew, who he probably saw grow up, who probably knew as a baby? He probably saw the kid grow up, so why not pass the torch to somebody he probably considers family? I know people wanted it to be Cena, but Cena didn't. Cena's at the point where he's almost done, so he doesn't really need
yeah.
it. So why
No, that
not?
was actually when you, Bosch, put it that way. That's incredibly poignant and beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, and I honestly didn't look at it like that. So,
I'm just bringing
yeah.
up all the points tonight.
No, really, yeah, you're beating the shit out of me. I don't like it, so fuck you. You know, taking my gimmick, kid. I when you put it like that, it's a totally fair point. And literally, in that sentence that you just made, I'm looking at the match almost immediately in a different
Yeah.
light.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is like I said, Undertaker's closest boys 20 years ago
Were them?
were Rikishi.
For Rodney and Keish, yeah.
Yeah, Rikishi Yokozuna along with Savio, Godfather, the Godwins, all those guys. But like
Yeah.
the Samoans are probably the closest to him as far as like Rikishi and Yoko. So I can see.
Well, Godfather, because look at them to this day.
Yeah. But I'm saying
there's
out of all of
arguments to be made
those, nobody else has family in the business around today.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
So
That's true.
as far as he, like I said, Roman's 20 years younger than Taker.
Right.
So he probably saw Roman as a baby, as a kid, growing up. I'm sure he was close. If he was close with Yoko and Rikishi, I'm sure he was close with the Wild Samoans, and all those
Right.
guys. So I'm sure he knew Roman as a kid. So I'm sure passing the torch to Roman would have meant a lot more to him than passing it to Cena.
Okay. I
know that's the match that everybody wanted.
Yeah, because we all thought it was going to be.
And I'm sure, and we would have gotten it last year, and we would have gotten it last year if it hadn't been for the injury. And then we got Shane.
Yeah.
And maybe this was his plan from years ago. Maybe it was the plan to go from Cena to then Roman.
Maybe that's a fair school of thought too.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm just assuming. I don't.
No, you're doing the Conrad. You're freestyling the bullshit. I like it. either way, overall, top to bottom, a solid WrestleMania.
Yes.
Much better than I think everybody thought it was going to be.
I mean, I came in with pretty good expectations because the build, I would say the builds were pretty strong for a lot of these matches. In my opinion.
And
I feel like compared to previous years, like even the match with like Roman and Brock, where they were playing tug of war with the belt on the Go Home Raw, and like shit like that, like I just felt like.
and considering that a lot of these matches were like, I don't want to say hot
And
shot.
I feel like last year a lot of matches it was plagued by so many injuries that a lot of matches were kind of just like put together frantically.
Oh yeah, totally. And people leaving. Let's not forget that too. That was a big factor in last year's stuff.
Yeah.
That was also a huge deciding factor in people's stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a solid WrestleMania. The best top to bottom one I've seen in some time.
Well, like I said before, before we started recording, at least in this decade, in the 2010s, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course. What do you give it out of 1 to 10?
I'm not really good with the ratings in the 1 to 10. I would say maybe like.
Well, I didn't ask you to give it 4, Brett. So.
Like an 8.5. 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Okay.
Like I said, my big disappointments were no Joe, no Howard Finkel, and Braun being wasted in the Battle Royal for a celebrity involvement.
No Joe, no Braun, no Howard Finkel. Yeah, I could.
Fink is more of a sentimental because he came up with the name for WrestleMania.
Yeah, of course.
And he's the one guy that's been at every single one.
I could totally dig that. I could totally dig that. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
8.5. Same. It really was a phenomenal WrestleMania, I feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Long, but good.
Long. Do we have any commercial breaks, or are we doing a Broadway right now, like WrestleMania?
I mean, if you want to do a Broadway, we can. There's still I guess we can discuss the Hall of Fame.
Let's do a fucking Broadway. Do the Hall of Fame. DDP opened.
I thought Bischoff gave a very nice speech for DDP. I thought DDP gave an awesome speech as well. He managed to mention, I think, everybody he's ever interacted with in his career. Yeah, which is hard to do when you're up there, you know. I think he managed to mention everybody. He gave a lot of praise to Dusty, a lot of praise to Jake, Outsiders, Macho for putting him over, Flair for putting him over for the belt, Hogan. Never mentioned his WWE run.
Which I thought was strange.
I don't blame him. It was a terrible run.
It wasn't as bad as people make it seem.
Compared to his WCW.
Oh, I mean, come on. Like, apples and oranges, dude.
But I thought it was a great speech, very inspiring, as always. But it
was inspiring and emotional.
He's an inspirational speaker. I'm happy for him. He's another one that I wasn't really watching during his early stuff, but I kind of saw as he transitioned from, like Eric Bischoff said, that heavily gimmicked character into turning on the NWO and becoming the superstar that he became. So he's another one that I kind of saw from the beginning of his ascension.
Yep, same.
So I thought it was great to see him go in. I get like we both happened to notice that Sean wasn't paying attention to him.
Yeah.
Another thing I found weird, why were Sean and Nash in the front row and Scott Hall was like all the way in the fucking back?
I also noticed that.
That was really weird.
Waltman was also further back.
I didn't even see Waltman shown on screen.
Yeah, Waltman.
I mean, I don't think he was mentioned, so.
No, he wasn't, but Waltman was there.
Yeah. Next we had Cornette inducting Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I thought he did
I thought he did an amazing job.
And Cornette inducting Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
You mean the Rock and Roll Express?
Sorry, everybody's made that mistake. People were making that mistake during the fucking red carpet.
Okay then.
The Rock and Roll Express, asshole.
Why am I gonna call an asshole?
You started this.
What?
You started this earlier during the proposal.
What the hell? Why do I have heat?
You posted that picture of you and Annie. I know you're laughing at me in that one.
No, that picture was.
I know you're laughing at me. I know you're laughing at me. If you were here, I would throw fucking mustard at you because I know you're laughing at me. When you laugh at people, they throw mustard at you.
I'm sorry. Is it because you asked me to sing you a song before we went on the air? Never mind.
Like I was saying, I thought Cornette gave a great induction speech for the Rock and Roll Express.
That's them. Good job.
I think he did it. I mean, like he said in the beginning, I think were people expecting him to go out there and cut a shoot interview? That wasn't gonna happen. He was in there. He was in there. I mean, I saw people complaining. He was in there to honor the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, Bosch is so hot right now. Bosch came in this hot, fired up, brother.
Like I said, if people want to hear him shoot and cut crazy promos, they can listen to his podcast.
Okay.
But I thought he gave a great induction speech. I thought Ricky and Robert gave a great. They had a fun speech as well. I mean, it wasn't as crazy as the Freebirds, but I thought they had a fun speech. You can tell they were having a blast up there. I popped when Ricky.
Oh, without question, and they also got to mention pretty much everyone.
Yeah, and I popped when Ricky said that their indie rates were going to go through the roof.
Oh, I marked the hell out when they said that. I was like, genius.
And when he said, and when Robert said that all of Ricky's kids look like him.
I popped for that too.
And they had that touching moment at the end where, like, he just said he loved them like a brother. He's the greatest person.
Yeah, that's pretty much like how our tag team induction would go.
Yeah.
It was very, very touching.
Yes. After that was Rick Rude, right?
Yeah, Rick Rude, whose kid sounded just like him.
His son. I mean, Ricky Steamboat did a nice job inducting him. I thought of all the families to accept on behalf of the inductee, I thought this was the best one as far as him cutting a promo on behalf of his dad. I thought it was a cool moment. There was a lot of catcalling towards his daughter.
Yeah.
Who was very attractive, but it was a nice little speech. I guess like every year we go through this where we would love to see the person accept the induction.
Yeah, his son did a great job covering him as a man.
Yes.
His son did a great job giving you the insight into his personal life and how he was and how much he, cared about his family and why he want to make sure that they had the things that they were able to have.
Yeah. And it sucks. I feel like if everything would have aligned, it would have been great to see like Mr. Perfect induct him. Yeah,
Perfect, Rick Rude, Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Those are all speeches I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, or even Perfect inducting Rude would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah, phenomenal. He would have gotten the crowd hopping.
Exactly. Next, I didn't see the Warrior Award.
Warrior Award was Eric LeGrand. I thought that Dana Warrior did a tremendously beautiful.
I'm sure she did. She's wonderful. Great speaker.
Did such a beautiful speech for Eric LeGrand.
Yeah.
Eric himself gave a great inspirational speech.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go back and check it out. I think it was just due to time. I had a busy day on Saturday, and I wanted to make sure I watched everything. I felt like he gave
a great, beautiful, inspirational speech.
Mm-hmm.
Just great, like really nice, genuine, heartfelt, inspiring, loving. Trying to make a difference.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. I was taking care of daddy duties during that speech.
Yeah.
I definitely want to check it out. Then after that was Teddy Long, right?
Yeah, Teddy Long, JBL pretty much came in and JBL and Ron Simmons pretty much came in and gave the comedy speech of the night.
Yeah, I thought Teddy was great too. He ran out there.
Teddy came out
He
running.
But Teddy always has great energy. Yeah, great
all
energy.
His greatest hits.
Yeah, I love that he closed it with the tag team match, and if Ron Simmons couldn't do it, then he was going to go one-on-one with the Undertaker. I thought I popped for that.
Yeah, me too. Oh, we're forgetting Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, Natty inducted Beth. I thought Natty gave a very touching induction speech.
Yeah.
And I thought Beth had speech of the night. I thought Beth did an amazing job.
I think Beth or Paige, and that's tough for me to say. I'll probably have to say Paige, but Beth is like 1A.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess during her run in WWE, she was not much of a talker, so...
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was an amazing speech. I know we had our hesitations about her going in so soon, but I thought she did an amazing job. Definitely.
And for her to pull a rib on her husband.
That was fucking awesome.
Oh, my God.
That was
amazing.
Great. He definitely wasn't expecting that. Because I don't think he wanted any attention on him because it was her moment. But I thought that was a cool moment. I heard the story of Molly Holly when she did Cabana's podcast a couple years back.
Yes, I knew that one.
But just seeing her talking about it and having Molly there, that was really touching for Molly to do that for her. And this just a story of her and Natty and how close they are and how she was inspired by Owen and Brett.
Yeah.
I thought it was a wonderful speech. Definitely well deserved, and congratulations to her and Edge being the only married couple in the Hall of Fame, which is an amazing accomplishment as well.
Yeah, it really is.
So definitely. Then Cena came out, gave a quick little speech for Angle. Angle came out. It was great to see him back. Great to hear his music.
Yeah, it really was, and it was what an ovation.
Yeah. I think due to the fact, I think this is becoming an ongoing pattern that I'm seeing, that the headliner kind of cuts their speech short because everybody else's speech is so long that it's...
Yeah, that was very much talked about yesterday, yeah.
It's late in the night, and they know people want to go home, so they don't want to drag it out. I remember that I remember that happening with Bruno. I remember that happening with Nash.
Nash.
I know Hall didn't headline, but he...
I even remember that happening. I don't remember who headlined the 2004... the 2004 Hall
But that one wasn't televised.
I believe it was Jesse Ventura who closed it out, but I remember him also saying that on camera.
Yeah, so I think kind of like Mania, maybe they just have to come up with a solution. But then there's been years where they've put timers on everybody and they're rushed and everybody's rushed.
Yeah, like Rick was notorious for getting rushed.
But maybe started
for years.
Maybe started earlier, or I don't know.
Maybe.
It's because
I don't know how you get around that.
Because I don't want to cut other people's speeches short, but then I don't want people cutting their own speeches short. I thought Angle gave a nice speech. It was very inspiring as far as like giving advice to the younger talent, as far as like just as far as taking care of yourself outside of the ring and not becoming basically a fuck up, or not becoming he would have been so great if he didn't screw up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just very inspirational because he did have troubles, but he cleaned himself up. He's been clean 4 years.
Yeah.
And he kind of went into take chances with your character and don't be afraid to be the butt of the joke, and just went through all his funny gimmicks and the cowboy hat and the hair piece and the Cena rap and the sexy Kurt, and then finishing it off with
he also did his greatest hits.
Yeah. It was cool to see all of that. I'm curious to see what's next for Angle. Like, as far as, is he going to come in as the GM?
I think it's almost evident, and I think that'll happen either Monday. Either Monday or, again, I swear up and down there's going to be a draft sooner than later. I do.
I would say I can see it happening tonight. And then maybe kind of like Shane, where maybe it'll lead into him feuding with somebody and maybe having a match at SummerSlam or Survivor Series.
Well, Shane, by the way, I just got to shout out Shane for hitting the Angle Slam tonight. Huge.
Yes, definitely. I forgot about
that.
Huge
respect for that. that was cool. 'Cause he didn't have to do that.
But I thought that I think I can see him at least having a match or two.
Yeah, it's very, very it's very possible.
Yeah. Overall, I
It's
enjoyed the
very,
Hall
very
of Fame.
possible.
There weren't any speeches that were like, "Oh my God, please finish soon" or "Please end this."
Yeah,
So I enjoyed it. Did you catch Takeover?
I did. Not to
Okay.
say that I did catch Takeover.
Okay, I was at the, I was running around yesterday, but I did.
I'll just
I
I'll
mean,
just do some
I
bullshit.
watched it too. I caught maybe like the first two matches before falling asleep last night, then watched the rest this morning when I woke up.
I was at Best Buy. I missed the first half
Okay.
of the tag team match.
The 8-person tag?
Yeah, I was at Best Buy, so I missed the first half of that.
Yeah.
What I did see, I thought was stellar.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I was very happy that the Sanity won.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much into them.
Yeah.
I'm starting to kind of watch NXT regularly again, but when I do miss it, they're one of the people that I go out of my way to see what it is that they're doing.
I think I might be like a few weeks behind.
Yeah, so like
I
always go to
No Way
YouTube.
Jose was taken out, so Cassius Ohno took his place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always like go ahead and try to see what it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always try to see what they're doing. Ono took No Way Jose's place because they shot
an angle during Access.
An angle during Access, which many people seem surprised about. I mean, they had to get Ono on the show.
Yeah.
And protect him. It's everybody knows at this point that Ono is next in line.
Yeah.
For the Bobby Roode feud or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, let me actually pull the rest of it up.
The second match was the debut of Aleister Black, formerly Tommy End, against Andrade Cien Alamos. I thought he had a badass entrance.
Yeah, I thought it was different. And considering that NXT is the land of the entrances and they, you can kind of run out of them very soon, I thought it was different.
Yeah, and I thought even the music was pretty cool. I've seen
I wasn't into the music, believe it or not.
I mean, I've seen him tagging with Chris Hero or Cassius Ohno in Evolve a few times.
Right.
So I'm a little familiar with his work. I thought they actually had a great match, him and Andrade.
No, I enjoyed it.
And I pointed out in the chat earlier, I think Andrade is taking that Ty Dillinger spot where he's the guy that people face on their debuts to get over.
Yeah, just put over guy. I enjoyed it. What I did not, again, it's a me thing. They wrestled for themselves.
Yeah.
There was no story.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the match was bad because of that. I'm not trying to discredit the match. But they wrestled for themselves.
Yeah.
That's all. It was just a match.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was a debut match is why they did that. I do not know.
Yeah.
But
I think it was more of a showcase of what this guy can do and the kickboxing background and getting the striking over.
Okay, you could say that.
Next was the tag team triple threat match. I was kind of sad that Cornette didn't accompany Revival to the ring, but
Yep, I told you that was what I want to see, man.
Yeah, that when you mentioned it, and then I saw them post the Twitter picture together, I was like, shit, I hope it happens. But
the Twitter picture was also the other one, like, oh, is it actually gonna fucking happen? I was marking out.
I think it was more of Cornette saw them at Access and was probably like, you're the only guys I actually like of the current wrestlers. Can I get a picture with you? Or maybe they were like, can we get a picture with you? We've heard you put us over. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a cool fight.
Yeah. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was cool to see. Like I mentioned earlier, it was a similar storyline where all the smaller people take out the big monsters. I thought Authors of Pain looked pretty cool with their attire and the mask and all that stuff.
I agree.
Like this was the best they probably looked. So I thought it was cool. Nice elimination match. I'm not mad that they went over.
I really enjoyed the table spot. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the swap finish spot.
Yeah.
With the inverted team members doing the opposing team's finish.
Yeah, that was cool.
I enjoy the shit out of
And
that.
I like that it was them working together, but then them eventually going against each other is what caused them to lose.
Yeah.
Because there was a point where they were just beating the shit out of the Authors of Pain, but eventually just their animosity towards each other cost each other the match,
Yeah.
So they
exactly
focused
what
on
it
each
was.
other and not taking out the Authors of Pain, but I thought it was cool. I'm hoping Revival gets called up.
Same.
Would you call, I don't know, would you call them up to Raw and have them feud with the Hardys?
SmackDown has the solid tag division, whereas Raw has the diverse one.
Okay.
If that makes any sense at all. SmackDown, I say solid in the sense of the matches pretty much deliver almost every week.
Yeah.
Raw in the sense of they have that diverse, no team is the same. Not to say the teams are the same on SmackDown, but, it's just how it comes off. You can put those guys on either roster and they'll work.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That corny generic answer is what I'm going to go with.
No, I agree with you.
So,
I mean, remember, I originally wanted them to break New Day's record before the record was broken. But
so I don't care where they go as long as they get called up.
Yeah, same
That's
here.
with me.
And then it was the women's title match, Asuka versus Ember Moon. I'm still not sure what Ember Moon's character is supposed to be.
I know that when her and Asuka were in the ring,
yeah,
I just kind of said they look like Mortal Kombat characters.
Because it's Ember Moon's entrance is a mix of Kane and Mickie James.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cool.
Where it comes
That's
out...
a good way to say it.
She comes out dark, mysterious, and then starts fucking hopping around.
Yeah.
So it's confusing, but I was a little surprised. I thought Ember was going to go over and Asuka would get called up.
I knew she wasn't getting over.
But
I was not surprised.
Right now, Asuka made a year as champion.
Yep.
And I think she's on the way to having the longest winning streak, almost as long as Goldberg's.
Of any champion.
Yeah. But just as far as
being and almost any NXT competitor, pretty much.
Or I mean, her undefeated streak is about to reach Goldberg's number.
Correct.
But I mean, then who's going to take the belt from Asuka?
Well, everybody's saying it was Ember Moon. I
thought when Ember Moon debuted in Brooklyn, I thought she would be the one to take it Mania weekend. That was my prediction.
It's still going to be Ember Moon. The other school of thought is maybe they have another girl waiting in the wings.
The way they set it up was where Ember was going to go for her finish and Asuka pushed the referee into the ropes.
Yeah, because Asuka turned heel yesterday, so...
Yeah, so maybe that can further the feud where it was you cheated or it was underhanded tactic where you thought you were going to lose, so you thought she was going to hit the finish and you pushed the referee. So I can see the feud continuing maybe, and maybe Ember eventually wins it. Or maybe this was to help Ember get over a little bit more and more sympathetic.
Yeah, maybe they're going to have a best of 3.
So, I don't know, because I feel like as much as I love the Australian chicks, I don't see either of them winning the belt from Asuka.
Okay.
It's not going to be Liv Morgan or Aaliyah.
Well, if you do it with one of them, then they got a feud at some point, the same way they did with who was Sasha Banks's, who was she the bodyguard for at one point for Charlotte, right?
I think it was first Summer Rae and Sasha, and
Summer
then
Rae, then it became Summer Rae, Charlotte, and Sasha.
Yeah.
So that's the way I always saw. If they won, they would either be like that or like Lay Cool, but then they
eventually
wrestle.
split. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Nikki Cross. I know Jones would love that one.
Yeah, well, that's heel because Asuka's kind of doing that whole "Who are you again?" that Hollywood too good type thing.
Yeah.
Because she pretty much turned herself heel officially during that match, and then the line of the night was, Ember Moon, she work here? Yeah, that was great. Like, she don't do nails, you know? That was racist.
Shit.
Anyway.
Wait, who doesn't do nails?
Exactly.
Wait, wouldn't Asuka be the one doing the nails?
That's what I'm saying. Asuka's questioning, like, she don't do nails. That's me. Sorry.
But,
what was after the women's?
the main.
They did go right into the main. You go first on the main, because it seems to be a mixed reaction.
First of all, I thought their entrances and their outfits were amazing. But
yeah, especially I actually was into Shinsuke's more, believe it or not.
I think watching that main event, I'm just like, why the fuck are these guys still down here?
Yeah,
I think that was the one thing that hit me watching this was why are these guys not on the main roster? They're both on the verge of 40. They're both ready. They're both over. Like they both have big time entrances, big time attires. They're ready. They're beyond ready. They like why? I think it just goes to the point that I made a while ago, where NXT was supposed to be developmental, and now it's just the third brand. They're like a super indie.
Well, here's the thing.
And now, I mean, also we missed that McIntyre was in the crowd, and he's been
I was going to let that ride until the end of it, but yeah, McIntyre came back. Now, okay, let's put it in a box before we can mail it. Number one.
Okay.
What did you think of the Nakamura Bobby Roode match?
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was a good match. I thought the first one was better.
Yeah, same here.
But I did, in fact, think it was a good match. I do think this one had the better story. And it had more drama. Now, what do you think of TakeOver as a show?
I thought it was a good show. I'm not going to sit here and say it was the best TakeOver.
Personally, it was not phenomenal. It wasn't what I expected it to be. I think stand by the fact
think last
that
year,
I think the tag match was match of the night.
I think last year, TakeOver was so good that it was tough for Mania to follow it.
But if you look at Dallas to now, there has in fact been a steady decline.
Yes, there has.
TakeOver.
I think that was the last great TakeOver in Dallas. I think it was becoming an issue where, especially the takeovers before the pay-per-views, were so good that they were outshining the main roster pay-per-view.
Right, I remember there was that argument that TakeOver was a week before the pay-per-view and the main roster had some animosity.
Yeah, so I think
there an argument now? Do you now do TakeOver away from main pay-per-views? Do you give it its own weekday or weekends?
But this is more of a business thing where they're already in the area, so let's take advantage and throw.
I understand that, but that's not what I'm asking you. I'm saying I'm talking about as a fan. Trust me, as a business model, it's a no-brainer to book it as the same weekend as a major show. What I'm saying is, however, because of this steady decline,
because we already know there's going to be TakeOver SummerSlam weekend.
Right. Is it perhaps better that TakeOver gets its own day, like when it was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night?
I think that wouldn't be a bad idea to go back to where they would have it on NXT night, which is Wednesdays. Okay. Now, because then it's also draining. It's also draining when you're getting two shows in a row, and then if you think about it, you're getting almost 6 days in a row because you're getting
6
NXT. You're getting you got the Hall of. Just this week alone for a wrestling fan, you're getting Hall of Fame Friday night, TakeOver Saturday,
which they did back-to-back wrestling. So some people were very, and
last year it was Friday TakeOver, Saturday Hall of Fame, but they switched it this year. So you got a TakeOver. Yeah. You had a 7-hour Mania tonight. Tomorrow you have a 3-hour Raw. So, okay, let's say Hall of Fame was 4 hours. The TakeOver was about 2.5, I think.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, tonight was 7. Tomorrow you're going to get 3. Another 2 for SmackDown on Tuesday. another hour for Wednesday NXT, and that's if you only watch WWE. Like,
Correct.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a fucking lot.
And then again, they did back-to-back shows. It
And I
wasn't
feel
like
like
the Hall
this.
of Fame
I
was
feel
a
like this
buffer in
week's. I
between.
think this week's NXT is probably going to be recap from tonight, from last night, and whatever.
Recap and the matches that
and the
they
dark
taped,
matches.
and they did tape. I think the Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan was in action. They had a couple things on the cocker.
Yeah, there's usually like 2 matches that are pre-show.
This time they did 2. Unlike Brooklyn, they did 4.
I'm guessing.
When they were in Brooklyn, they actually got 4 in.
I'm guessing based on who's on the roster and didn't appear on the show.
Right.
I'm guessing it was probably what Aaliyah and Liv versus the Australian chicks.
I think Liv had a singles.
Oh, okay, against one of the Australians.
I believe so. I know
Okay.
Liv had a single. I'm fairly confident in saying that.
Probably against Liv because Billy was selling the injury from Ember Moon.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out who else is on the roster that didn't have a match. Whatever. But yeah. I mean, I think just since Finn was called up and then Joe, and just a lot of people came up last year. Bayley, Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
Alpha.
Yeah, and then they have a great
All the
name
Carmella,
substitute because if Nakamura is the one to go up, they have Cassius Ohno.
And now Drew McIntyre.
Now Drew McIntyre's back in there. Triple H opened the show saying that NXT was going to be rebranded.
Well, they got new belts.
And they got new belts. I do think that is pretty much exactly what is happening and is going to happen in NXT.
Okay. So by rebranding, what do you mean?
I think you're going to see a dramatic change in roster.
Okay.
In the next for the next takeover, be it coinciding with a major WWE show, or perhaps even they themselves have realized, okay, we've got to kind of go back to the way the wheel used to be.
We've got to tone it. I mean, I feel like they have taken it back where it's like I don't think since Dallas last year I haven't felt that urgency to have to watch a takeover. I think the one after Dallas was pretty good. The one that had the cage match with
Oh yeah, the Balor Joe, right?
Yeah.
That was a Full Sail. Yeah, that was a good one. You're right. That was a good one.
And who does Shinsuke face on that one?
I don't remember.
I don't either. Was it Aries? Aries.
You're right. It was Aries. NXT is definitely going to be rebranded. I think you're going to see more roster changes, including
I think they just have
the
too
McIntyre
many
thing.
Yeah, like too many. Like I said, I think like Rude and Nakamura, those entrances should have happened at Mania.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think my complaint a year ago was that it was too good. And it was to the detriment of the main roster.
Right, which it was. It was.
And it was becoming too tough to follow their shows.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think this year, at least, Mania surpassed TakeOver. Which is a good thing, which should be the goal, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you had...
Absolutely.
I mean, last year, like, look how stacked that was last year. You had Joe and
Nakamura's debut in Dallas.
Joe and Balor, where Joe was busted open, and it was a great fucking match. It was Nakamura's debut with Sami Zayn, which was an amazing match. You had Alpha and Revival, which was an amazing match. Asuka and Bayley, which was an amazing match. That was 4 fucking stacked matches.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It was stellar.
Yeah. It was also Sammy's farewell. Like, it was too good.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I want NXT to suck. I just think they need to go take it back a notch and focus on the developmental.
Right.
But I think they got to a point where it was like, oh my god, we're getting all these fucking indie stars, all these big stars from outside, and the marks are loving it, and the internet fans are loving it. So this is like the internet mark show that they're gonna love.
I don't think I see the argument for that, but I don't think NXT's become the mark show. I don't think we're there yet.
I think we were there.
Yes.
When it was Owens and Sammy and Balor and Joe.
Yes. In that era, yes, we were there.
Yeah, I'm saying that was the mentality at the time where it was, oh my god, well, the all the fans that are going to complain about WWE and Raw and SmackDown and Cena and Roman.
Yes, that class of 24 to 2010 internet darlings.
We're going to get them. We're going to get them because they're going to have to subscribe to the network to see all their internet, all the people that they love.
Correct, Mundo.
Because now they have to subscribe to the network to see all these Ring of Honor guys or Japan guys.
Right. So. Right. That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
Well, overall, I thought it was a good takeover.
Uh-huh.
But because I've pretty much seen almost all of them, there's that. You go into something with a standard, especially when it starts off a certain way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You go in there with that. You go in there thinking a 10, and when you get a 7 or an 8, you kind of get like.
Well, because they were so strong for so long, like even with the
absolutely
with Sammy and Neville and Owens and the Four Horsewomen.
Yeah.
And then when they graduated, it's like, oh, okay. And it's not saying that the current talent is bad, but the previous group was so good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm curious.
I've got tremendous hopes for them. I
mean, I don't even watch 205 Live.
I try to, that's the new one that I'm starting to get into on YouTube. I'm never here to see that. So that's the one that.
And like I said, that's adding another hour to Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday pretty much has become a 3-hour show too.
Yeah.
In a way.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah.
And I'm down to watching the Hulu versions the next morning.
Well, that you watch the Hulu versions for several different reasons. So.
Or just I mean, also I don't have the cable. It's just having to look for a stream is annoying and it's draining to sit there for 3+ hours. I'd rather just.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like I watch, I'm usually watching while I'm getting ready for work in the morning. So like by the time I leave for work, I've already seen half of Raw or SmackDown.
Okay.
And I try to avoid spoilers. Sometimes I can, but.
Yes, you do actually. You do.
Yeah.
You do. You do actually try to.
Yeah.
Try to avoid spoilers. You do. I have to admit that. Let me see here. Sorry, I had a space out moment. I'm messing with my new TV and I'm putting it on sleep mode.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered it all. I don't see the point of us covering last week's Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, there's no point. It's almost 3 a.m.
There's no point. Overall, a very interesting, diverse, robust, and history-making weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as if tomorrow could literally be the most important and maybe even the greatest.
I'm kind of like I think I might want to find a way to stream tomorrow just because it's Raw after Mania.
Yeah, I really do think that tomorrow might be the
like
most history-making and the most important Raw after Mania ever.
Yeah, because I feel like that's one Raw I can't miss.
Yeah, that I would have watched it catch the B version the next day.
Yeah,
personally. So that's just me.
I should go to my grandma's. Like, move over, Rob, while I'm going to watch Raw.
Yeah, like, pipe down, Grandma, That's where I'm at with it. I got nothing else to cover, plug, or mention. I'm just going to... Well, I'm going to do my quick plugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, real quick, the John Harder, the Hardway HQ, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I may be exhausted, but I can still plug him. Definitely check out his again, I know I say it every single week, but if you are into the old school, WWE magazine, WWF magazine writing style, John Harder is the place to go. HardwareHQ.com and his Professional 3 Tumblr. Those are the places I would recommend everybody goes. And he just put up a great article on Neville and the Cruiserweight division. Phenomenal. It was a great read. I definitely recommend that for everybody. Of course, Kylie MV podcast. Check them out. I'm going to put Vanessa on the spot and demand that she has me on the show, just so I can drive her crazy like I do on Snapchat. Caps podcast, you can come passing out.
Yeah.
22 pages later. Check them out. Kayfabe Cover Kingdom. Check them out. Kayfabe, I'm just trying to run them all.
Yeah.
On fumes, but you could tell. Kayfabe Cover Kingdom. Check him out. Definitely, my buddy, my Bay Area bestie, as I call him. I got them. Check me out this coming Saturday, April 8th. Mike Morgan Jr. Memorial Arena, Wallington, New Jersey, 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey. Ring of Honor star Donovan Dijak takes on Danny Moss for the Ace Heavyweight title. First time ever. We're going to see Astro versus Vince Steele in a lumberjack match. We're going to see Anthony Ramirez take on Adam Payne. We're going to see Donovan versus Sebastian Cage versus Kid Christian. All that and so much more at Ace Redemption this coming week.
Awesome.
And then the following week, we're going to have the For Life podcast WWE 2K17 tournament. So we'll have live results for that, and I'm sure Bosch will live stream it.
Sure.
Because he does that with everything. So
I don't really live stream shit.
No, you don't. I'm just being an ass, but somebody asked for your opinion. Yeah, that's all I got.
Right.
Oh wait, hold on. I gotta get my line right. Hold on. I just put my hand up my ass and I didn't pull anything out, so that's all I got.
I'm really concerned. You should get that checked out.
It's a weekly tradition when I put my hand up my ass to see what else I got up there.
All right.
Hey man, I eat a lot of fiber.
That's good.
That's what makes me a growing boy. That's what makes me a growing boy. Don't you fucking answer. Don't you say a damn word, boy.
It's not working.
But you know what is worth it?
What?
It's worth it when you listen to your podcast, because you listen to it
for
life.
Just for you. Dance with the Taker. Rest in peace. The most powerful entity in the World Wrestling Federation. Slam Jam Death. Federation. Slam Jam Death. The most powerful entity in the World Wrestling Federation. The Man in Black. I walk through the shadow of the valley of death. The Devil in Black, the Undertaker, the Man in Black.